He kōna e purangi tēnei nā te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.
Hello there, kia ora. Welcome along to the Music 101 interview podcast. I'm Charlotte Ryan, the host of Music 101, which is the radio show every Saturday afternoon on RNZ National. I play lots of good music, have great interviews with guests, and today's Throwback Thursday interview actually is to one of our country's most famous comedians and film score writers who released a solo album in 2022. I'm talking Bret McKenzie. You'll know him probably from comedian duo. He's one half of Flight of the Conchords. But did you know he also wrote the music for the Muppets reboot? He's written guest songs for The Simpsons and so much more. But his new album, released in 2022, called Songs Without Jokes, was meant to be a serious album, inspired by songs from the 70s and 80s, with a few dad jokes thrown in for good measure. This album surprised me in such a good way. I feel like it reminds me of Harry Nilsson or Randy Newman. I was so excited to talk to Bret McKenzie about the album. He recorded a lot of it in LA, but as you'll hear, many of the themes of the album were developed late night in his Wellington home studio. Bret McKenzie, congratulations on your new album.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
Songs Without Jokes.
That's right, yeah.
A lot of people must have given you grief, though, because there are a few little cheeky lyrics in here.
There's a few little wry gags in there, but on the whole, I was trying to write songs that were not specifically funny. Yeah.
Is that kind of hard? Because it's all your life you've written.
It is. It's a little bit weird that it's so hard for me to write songs. Well, it's not hard, but it's different. And I guess that's what I was trying to do, and that was the challenge for me. But it is weird because when you think about music and songs in the world, not very many of them are funny. You know, it's pretty. The music comedy section of music is quite small.
Yes.
So it's not really that unusual what I'm doing, but it's unusual for me.
What's the difference between writing a song for the Muppet movie or for Flight of the Conchords compared to writing songs without jokes? Yeah.
Well, I guess the difference with writing comedy songs is your main aim in the song is to make the audience, is to amuse the audience, to make them laugh. And in movies, a lot of songs are about advancing the plot or the character or the story, or
it's like a montage or something.
Yeah, or establishing an emotional part of the character or expressing their inner feelings. And these songs didn't really have to do anything, and so other than exist as songs. And so then it sort of opens up the floodgates of, well, it can do anything. And often in comedy songs, you can't repeat a chorus because you've already heard it once.
Oh.
So I was like, yeah, I'm going to repeat the chorus. So for me, that was a real pleasure. But it's very normal.
Does that make it easier then?
I think it's different. I think for me, it was a bit of a challenge. And I think I was slightly obsessive about trying not to be funny. And now I'm writing more songs as I go. I'm like, oh, well, actually, they can be funny and playful, but not need to be a comedy song. Does that make sense? Like, you don't need to. I was trying really hard to do songs that aren't funny, and this is what the album turned into. Yeah.
So how long have you been working on these songs?
A few years. Yeah, because we started recording before COVID, and then COVID kind of shut everything down, and it sort of time just disappeared. Time kind of went into a weird vortex for everyone. Yes. I guess for you, it sounds to me like I keep saying, was it a year ago? Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
No, that was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So we'd recorded the tracks, most of them in Los Angeles, and then came back to New Zealand, everything kind of shut down, and I sort of tinkered away in between taking the kids for walks to the park and going through lockdown sort of mental health sort of breakdowns of like, what is going on? Oh my God, watching Jacinda give the news reports. And then I'd be like, okay, I'll go mix my drum tracks for a bit. I had a few songs that hadn't quite worked in the first recording, and I wrote one song during lockdown. Two songs during lockdown, and then I did a remote session in LA 2020, I think it was. So I was on Zoom and the band were recording in LA with masks on.
How did you find that? Because did the delay, does that work?
It was pretty great.
Yeah.
I was at the Surgery, which is the studio in Wellington, with Lee Preble, and and then there was a picture of the studio in LA, the control room, and then the band who I know, so that made it a bit easier. And Mickey Petralia, the producer, were in LA, and they'd record and we could hear it streaming pretty great. It worked really well.
You could actually play in time with them, like it was streaming that fast.
They were playing. I wasn't playing along with them. I was just listening, giving direction and stuff, and then I did vocals afterwards. I have done a session writing with a LA songwriter, Linda Perry, You come across Linda Perry?
Name rings a bell, yeah.
So we wrote a song for a movie this year, or last year, or maybe 3 years ago, can't remember now. No, I think it was last year, where we wrote a song together online, and we were playing together, and she would be like, she'd play a bit of piano, and I could sing along with her, and we could write. That was quite cool. I've never done that before. Yeah. So you can do it, but it works best if you know the people.
Yeah, totally.
So you kind of...
be quiet now.
Yeah, or they understand where you're coming from. It would be quite hard to tell people that you don't know, give them directions over. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Yeah. That remote session, then vocals. I record a lot of the vocals at the Surgery in Wellington and the Armoury, another studio in Wellington, and then it got mixed by Daryl Thorpe in LA, kind of end of 2020. Yeah.
Yeah. What's it like talking about the album with people?
It's quite weird because I haven't really talked about it. I've just listened to it for months and during COVID by myself. My family know it really well.
What's it like doing things by yourself now? I mean, you have done certain music projects by yourself, but, usually you have Jermaine there or the
totally.
Black Seeds.
Oh, totally. No, it's quite scary, actually, especially because this started off as a kind of fun project. I thought, I'm going to do some songs without jokes. There's something different. And then I was like, we'll do the record, we'll record it. And then now suddenly I'm like, I have to really talk about it and put it out in the world. And I didn't anticipate quite what that would feel like, but it is a little freaky and scary, but also kind of exciting and fun. Yeah.
What's your writing room like?
I have a studio at home, which is kind of above the garage, so it's separate to the house. Which is quite good because we've got kids, and I can. I work. My commute is about 30 seconds, and. Yeah, it's full of keyboards and synths and pianos and guitars and lots of different instruments and a pretty simple recording rig, one microphone, kind of like what you got here, and then I just move the microphone around the room to a different instrument, multi-track record ideas. And in terms of the songwriting, usually the songwriting isn't really... It's not so much about all the different instruments. It's one instrument.
Yeah.
It's a guitar or a piano.
Yes.
And for me, a lot of the songs for this record were written in the evenings when probably the kids have gone to bed, and I'd sit around playing guitar, mulling around in the lounge or on the piano. So then I record the little demo, and that might be a kind of scratch guitar part with a chorus, and maybe the beginnings of a verse or something like that, or just the feeling of the song, and then I listen to it. If it's one that I like, I'll pull it up again the next day and keep filling in the pieces that are missing. And I found it fascinating when I listened to, there's those demos of Michael Jackson. Have you heard those demos of Michael Jackson?
No.
I know Michael Jackson's not very PC, but his demo recording process is interesting. So you hear the demos, and there are some songs in there he just mumbles, some lyrics he mumbles. He doesn't have all the lyrics. You have pieces of the lyrics.
Yes. And
I sort of have a similar, obviously I'm not Michael Jackson, but a similar style of my songs come out with a melody and maybe the chorus or a key verse lyric, and then I kind of fill in some gaps, and then it's like colouring in the rest of the song is what is the next part of the process for me.
Is there a theme to the lyrics?
There are some themes in there. I think there's there's a sense of escape, and there's a sense of dislocation. My friend, English writer, he listened to it, he said he thought it had a theme of baffled despair. It's just quite good. I think a lot of the songs were like me in the evening, kind of sort of responding to the strange world that we live in. And so there is a little bit of that feeling of what is happening in this world. There's a bit of that in it, I think.
Yeah.
Did you get that?
Yes, absolutely. Well, track one almost gifts that thought to me straight away.
That's very solidly in that area, yeah. This world is broken, yeah.
It's quite an uplifting song, but yet the lyrics are quite dark.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of those. I love the way, there's a few artists do that, where you've got like a kind of, quite a dark or not depressing would be too harsh, but a bleak idea.
Yes.
And then you wrap it up in a catchy melody and or a catchy fun sort of song, and I love that kind of contrast. I've always loved that, yeah. Are
you concerned about the world?
Well, what's interesting is I wrote the song This World. It's called This World Is Broken, but I thought I'd call it This World so it doesn't sound quite so tragic. But yeah, I'm definitely concerned about this world that we've got. And what's amazing is the song I wrote it probably 3 or 4 years ago, and it just seems to get more and more relevant.
I know.
Which is really concerning. The climate change has been looming for years since we were kids. But it's weird. It's when you're tired and a bit sort of down on the world, I seem to be more allured by the news
Yeah.
and scrolling, doom scrolling.
As we go into the new normal of life, and I don't even know what that will mean, but how much time will you spend in the US compared to New Zealand, do you think?
Yeah, that's something I'm trying to figure out at the moment. I went to Los Angeles this year, and for the first time since 2019, and I had quite a strange feeling in terms of being back in Los Angeles where I was so familiar, and I used to do that trip every 2 or 3 months. I was going back and forth a lot, and all my work still is kind of there. But I had quite a strong feeling of this is no longer the way to live, going between these two places. But also, well, how do I make this? How do I make this work? I don't know yet. Yeah, but it doesn't quite feel right anymore. Yeah.
Time will tell, because that was another theme that I wondered that sort of comes up in your album, which is talking about America. Because there's one song called That's LA.
That's LA, yeah, that's right.
And the other one is America Goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's a real American theme that came through. That's LA was one of the first songs that I wrote for the record, and I was working with Mickey, who did all the Conchords, produced all the Conchords music and produced all the film music I work on, and we found this cool drum machine beat, and I was like, I've got this chorus, that's LA.
I love the song.
And then we were bugging out, and that was kind of like, okay, let's make a record like this, and it's got a bit of a Steely Dan kind of feel. And what was magic about that was the session band that we used, who I met doing movie soundtracks. These amazing players, these legends. Dean Parks is the guitar player, and he played in Steely Dan, and he played. You check out his he's played with everyone. It's
like the Wrecking Crew, that just
that kind of He's
players,
probably he must be late 60s, early 70s, and he he's played with everyone. Michael Jackson. I think he wrote a Michael Jackson song. He played with. I mean, it's bonkers. Like everyone, you just go through, and it's like he's this legend session player. We were working on that song, That's LA, and we're like, we wanted to have a Steely Dan vibe. And then he's like, well, I got that covered. Because it literally is the Steely Dan sound, because he's the guy that does the guitar solos in Steely Dan.
Oh my God.
So that's pretty surreal.
Do you pinch yourself at those points?
Yeah, everyone does. I mean, everyone in the studio is going, this is crazy. But it's so fun. And their studio experience and wisdom is so amazing to work with. They say things like, Dean, who's the guitar player, goes, yeah, sometimes on the Steely Dan tracks, we'd put like an acoustic, just rhythm track, just kind of tucked in there, kind of glue it together. So then Mickey and I were like, yeah, well, let's do that, eh? So you'll hear like there's this. So you do it, and you're like, yeah, that works really well. Thanks, Dean. So all the stuff that you learn from working with these experts,
totally.
It's incredible. It's incredible. So Mickey Petrelli is the producer, and Jermaine and I met him right at the beginning of Conchords.
Yeah.
We had to find a producer to record the music for the TV show and the records, and we were always big fans of Beck.
Like Odelay.
Yeah. Oh well, and
Sea Change
and Deborah. That.
Yes.
What is that? It's like a sort of neon-y green.
Oh, Midnight Vultures.
Midnight Vultures. Yes. Yeah. So that record, and
did he do that?
And he worked on that one. Yeah. He worked on that one, and he was he was doing programming and synth stuff on that record, and he's an LA born and bred kind of guy, so he knows everyone.
Yeah, but you must have an awesome relationship as well, because did you do Muppet music with him as well?
Did all the Muppet stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've worked for a long time now, and he's really magic. He's kind of he's one of those guys in the studio who keeps everyone kind of having a good time, and kind of not in a studio you can get a little bogged down and lose focus. But that's one of the key roles, I think, of a producer, is to help you keep on track or not get bogged down.
I agree. Yeah. And create the energy.
Yeah. He's a super good vibe, really funny guy, super funny guy,
Yeah. I bet he's funny. If you've ridden with him for years.
Yeah. He's great.
He must have a good sense of humour. There's lots of sort of influences that you can hear, but was there a Bruce Springsteen influence at all?
A few people have said that. The Boss.
Because I think it's your tone of voice, perhaps.
I think, and it wasn't really intentional. No, that wasn't really a big influence. I think there's something... The songs were quite 70s, and then we tried to make them sound more modern. But no, not so much Bruce Springsteen. There's a little bit of, I feel like there's a little bit of a Dire Straits vibe on a couple of songs.
Totally. Maybe that's where
which is probably similar
80s synth era.
Springsteen's probably a cooler reference, but
oh no, I love Dire Straits.
You do? Yeah,
I think they're cool.
Yeah.
I loved hearing Dave's place on Kim Hill's show. In fact, you started saying a story. Can you tell me, Dave is about an engineer who's no longer alive?
That's right. Dave Bianco was a great engineer in LA, and he worked with us on a few projects, and then he we'd always been in the studio with him, and we used the studio called United Recording, and we'd say, we need an isolated booth so we could put the other guitar in there or something, and he'd go, you know what's going on those is Dave's place. Let's go one of those. We were like, what? Okay, all right, Dave. He kept on trying to plug his studio. It was always his joke. Whenever we were like, we needed that microphone. He's like, you know what's going on those? Dave's place is going on those. So we're like, yeah, okay, Dave. All right, Dave. Okay. And then sadly, he had one of those random things where he just died like
an aneurysm or something.
Yeah, like a head thing, and completely unexpected.
And
nothing.
Young?
A bit older than me, but
too young.
Too young. Not old. And after he passed away, Mickey and I went to work at his studio one day, and it was really cool because and this is the song that we started there. I had this idea I had the beginnings of the song. He had this cool drum machine, and we pulled up the synth at his place, and the song kind of just came to life. And then we tracked with the band at a different studio, and it was one of those takes where the band finished the take and was like, whoa, that's a good one. And then I went to get a drink, something, and then came back in, and the engineer was like, oh shit, man, I'm so sorry, the bass part has been deleted. We're like, what? No, it must be back up. He's like, it's gone. And so then we had to overdub the bass part. It's one of those times where everyone's going, oh no, this little magic thing that you captured had somehow been disappeared like within like 5 minutes. So part of me was like, oh man, is Dave just haunting this recording?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So then, anyway, so I called it Dave's Place because of his studio.
I love it.
The session singers on the record are three of them are New Zealanders, and 2 of them are Americans. So we tracked 2 in LA, and then did more recording here with Nigel Collins and all Wellington singers, Caitlin Little and Moana Leota. And Caitlin and Moana are coming on tour. They're in the band touring.
You're playing right throughout New Zealand in September. It must be like a great excuse for you to discover the small parts of New Zealand that you haven't been to in a while. Yeah,
it's true. I haven't been to Invercargill for a while, and I haven't been up to Hawke's Bay. Yeah, it's going to be rad, man. We're taking the whole band on the road. And
7-piece band?
7-piece band. I think it's going to be 10-piece in New Zealand. I'm going to get this horn section together.
Good.
So
because horns feature on the album a bit, yeah.
Yeah. So there's going to be it's a massive band, and it's going to be a sort of giant live musical experience.
And in the most beautiful venues.
Yeah, all the old opera houses.
All the old opera houses.
I can't wait, actually. It's going to be cool. And I was trying to get more gigs. I was like, can't we do some of those the halls? I really love the small halls, like Pakakariki Hall.
Yes.
And they'll be next time. It's hard to make that work with a 10-piece band.
And then what's after tour? The
tour goes from New Zealand, then to the UK, then to America. And we finish the tour around late November. Yeah, so we're on the road for a while.
That's very, very cool. Good luck.
Thanks, Charlotte. Yeah.
Congratulations on the album. It's so fun.
Sweet. Thanks for having me.
Is it coming out on vinyl?
Yeah. The vinyl looks pretty cool, actually. It's kind of bluey, turquoisey colour.
Oh, nice. I think it will sound great. Oh, is Madeline Sami tour managing you guys?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll see if she can do it.
She'd be great.
Yeah.
I was speaking with Bret McKenzie for Music 101, and this is the Music 101 interview podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you like music interviews from a New Zealand perspective, make sure you follow this podcast and forward it to your friends that you think might like it too. Tune in each Saturday afternoon from 1 p.m. on RNZ National to hear Music 101 live. But otherwise, until next week, take care, and I'll be back with another great Music 101 interview.